Okay, everybody. Hi, welcome along to our this week's webinar. And tonight we're going to be talking about sinusitis, which in some ways is related to tinnitus that we did a few weeks back. We did a fantastic webinar on tinnitus. We've got a lot of people viewing that webinar, and then a few people that did that also asked us about sinusitis. So this evening we're going to be just concentrating and taking a look at sinusitis. So with us this evening is Dr. Chaitrali, who probably most of you know, but for the people that don't know her, I'm going to introduce her. She's an Ayurvedic doctor. So an Ayurveda in India, to become an Ayurvedic doctor, it's a 6-year degree course. And Dr. Chaitrali is very, very highly experienced. She's completed that degree course, but she's also worked in hospitals and clinical settings. And she's a lot of experience working in Ayurveda centers in Singapore. And she's been with us in Ireland for the last year or so. And this evening she's going to do a presentation on sinusitis, and we'll have some questions that we have in that we're going to answer towards the end of that. And I don't want people, if the information appears a little overwhelming, especially if you're new to Ayurveda, just take it in very easily. We're going to send a copy of this video to everybody, so you'll be able to go back over it. We'll also attach the notes that are with it, so you'll be able to go back over it in your own time. And especially if you're new to Ayurveda, don't get too stressed about taking in all the information, because there's a lot of new concepts. But I'll show you a bit later on our website where you can do a free 7-lesson course in Ayurveda to understand all the principles. But I know many of the people on the call are also quite familiar with Ayurveda as well. So Dr. Chaitrali, I'm going to hand over to you. You're very welcome along this evening to fill us in on the Ayurvedic approach to sinusitis.
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Noel. Thank you, Noel, for the brief introduction, and good evening, everyone. So let's start. I'll share the screen. Okay.
I think you should be able to share. I think I switched that on. Yeah, I see your screen coming up. Okay, yeah, I have it here.
Oh, one sec. Okay. Can you see the share
I can see the share and I can see you. And just so that you're aware, you just block the bottom left corner of it. But as you scroll up,
and how about this?
No, go the other way. Go the other way.
Okay.
Yeah, that's perfect. That's perfect. That's perfect. Yeah. Now on my screen, I can see the whole thing, and I can see you at the side as well, you know?
Okay.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
That's perfect. So I'll let you go ahead, Dr. Chaitrali. If there's any technical issues or anything like that, just let me know. I'll be here. And
Sure.
as I say, we'll be doing a Q&A later on as well, you know?
Okay. Hope everything is visible at the backside now on the screen.
Yeah, everything's visible. Yeah.
Okay, great. Yeah. Okay, good evening, everyone. And today's topic is sinusitis. So here in the picture, you can see like there are different types of sinuses which are there in the facial bones. Okay, so these sinuses are like small air-filled spaces or the empty cavities, we can say, in these facial bones, which are above your eyebrows, which are called as frontal sinuses, below your cheeks. They are on the cheeks. It is called as maxillary sinuses. So you don't need to remember those names, but there are sinus spaces, and there is again ethmoid sinus as well. So these are like the sinus spaces, the empty spaces, which is filled with air around your nasal area and the forehead. Okay, so these four cavities in the head that are connected through narrow thin channels, and as a normal process it is filled with air, but on the contrary, if there is any infection with bacteria or viruses or even fungal infection, so this leads to nasal blockage or congestion in the nose, and that's how it leads to other symptoms which we are going to see now: headache and a few other things like difficulty in breathing. So this happens because of inflammation in the inner lining of the sinuses or the inner lining of the nasal passage, which swells up, and this blocks the mucus which is draining out, or the secretions which are draining out of your nose. Okay, so when the mucus is normal, it flows down as a runny nose, or it flows down as something which is coming out of your nose. So, and if something gets stuck inside your sinuses, so what happens is the first reaction is sneezing. So sneezing is one of the protective reaction where the body comes with, and the allergens or the toxins are expelled out. But in sinusitis, the swelled up sinuses, they interfere this normal drainage of that mucus liquid, which has to drain out, but it gets stuck because of the swelling. And this stuck mucus, it gets trapped into these sinus spaces, the sinuses above your eyebrows and the sinuses below your cheekbone. So there it gets trapped, and it makes it difficult to come out of the nose. And that's how then you can see like different symptoms like headache, and then even stuffy nose, and a few other symptoms which we are going to see ahead. So this is called as sinusitis. So inflammation of that sinus spaces or that sinus cavities is called as sinusitis, and it comes up with different symptoms which we are going to see soon. So the commonly seen infections are usually the sinuses, sinus infections or sinusitis. But generally, to differentiate between these two, you have like common symptoms between the sinus infections and the sinusitis. So to differentiate, the time duration or the occurrence is the main symptoms, how we can differentiate between these infections. Okay, so let's move forward and let's see what are the common symptoms of sinusitis. Okay, so again, the first and the foremost common symptom of sinusitis is heaviness over the head region and headaches. So headaches are really very common in sinusitis because of the pressure exerted in the nasal passage. Because the nasal once the nose gets blocked, or the nasal cavities get blocked because of the trapped mucus inside, and this exerts more pressure, and that's why there is headache. So headache is one of the common symptom, and sometimes there is partial headache and sometimes there is dull headache. So there are different severities of headache which is seen in the sinusitis. Okay, then facial pressure or pain in the sinus spaces, like pain over the forehead or pain over the cheek, is also very common. Then pain in the teeth or even in the eyes and the ears, stuffy and blocked nose, then slimy, thick and sticky nasal discharge. And there are like different colors which can be seen. Sometimes it is transparent, like whitish discharge, or yellowish, or even greenish discharge. So this depends upon which type of sinusitis it is. So there are different kinds and which kind of infection the person is having. So the color changes according to that. Then itchiness inside the nose, itchiness of eyes, and then sneezing. Sneezing, as I spoke before, it is a protective reaction from the body. And then cough, loss of smell and taste, bad breath. So these are some of the symptoms in sinusitis. Then fatigue and heaviness all over the body, and the body pain. Sore throat or throat irritation. It is because of the post-nasal drip. So now let's understand what is post-nasal drip. So when the when the mucus gets trapped inside your sinuses, what happens? The channels get blocked because of the inflammation or the swell up inside the nasal cavity, and that's how the mucus cannot come out through the nose, and it starts dripping inside your throat. So this overproduction of this mucus, which starts dripping inside your throat, it gets accumulated and it starts irritation in the throat. Okay, so this is also one of the very common symptom of sinusitis. Then difficulty in breathing, that is very common. Fever, fatigue and weakness. And then when it comes to like chronic sinusitis, the symptoms are more severe. The headache starts with dull, and then it starts to move on to the severity of the side. And then pain is typically like involved in one part of the head, and then it starts to both the side of the head. And the pain worsens when you are bending down or when you lie down, then also the pain starts to worsen. And then the other symptoms are like basically thick mucus or the mucus discoloration from yellow to green, or sometimes even the pus or blood. So these are the symptoms of chronic sinusitis. So I'm going to talk about like few different types of sinusitis according to the severity of the symptoms. So first is the acute sinusitis, in which the infection lasts for around 2 to 3 weeks, and if you take proper precautions and medicines at home, it subsides within 3 weeks. But the subacute sinusitis is where the symptoms last for 3 to 4 weeks. Even after taking good treatment, it still takes time to recover. But then it is the chronic sinusitis. So in chronic sinusitis, there are like recurrent infections, which is seen. Then the person becomes very weak, and there is like a lot of fatigue and weakness, and the symptoms which I talked about earlier. So those all symptoms are seen, and recurrent episodes of sinusitis within like 1 or 2 months. So, and this after taking many multiple treatments, it takes time to recover, at least like 8 to 12 weeks. So that is called as chronic sinusitis. Okay. And according to Ayurveda also, Ayurveda talks about like 3 types of sinusitis. So Vataj sinusitis, that is where the wind element or the space element are more predominant. The symptoms seen in Vataj sinusitis, or it is called as Pratishay. So the symptoms are like pricking pain inside the nose, then dryness inside the nose, and even there's hoarseness in your voice, or even headache, and even dryness in the nose. So these are few symptoms which are seen in Vataj Pratishay or the Vataj sinusitis. Then the Pittach sinusitis, the second one. So in that Pittach sinusitis or the Pittach Pratishay, the symptoms are like burning sensation in the nose and burning sensation in your eyes, itchiness, and even thirst and fever. These are the symptoms which are seen when the Pitta dosha is more predominant in that kind of sinusitis. Then the third one is the Kaphaj Pratishay, where the Kapha dosha is more predominant, and there is itchiness in the nose, more of mucus production, and then loss of appetite, loss of smell, and even heaviness in the body. So these are the few symptoms which are seen when there is more predominant of aggravation of this kapha dosha. Okay, so these are the 3 types according to the dosha imbalances in any of the person. Okay, now let's move forward and see what are the causes of sinusitis. So the first and the foremost is any infections. So that is like, that can be like bacterial infection or viral or fungal infections. So these all infections are like very much common in sinusitis. And then change in season, abrupt change in weather or weather irregularities. So this is also one of the very common cause of sinusitis, we can say. Environmental irritants like even molds, and then allergens, pollens, grass mites, and then pet danders. So these are also very common allergens or pollutants which can cause more irritation in the sinuses. Okay, then exposure to the mist or the fog is also one of the very common cause of sinusitis, and staying in a smoky place, like people working in industrial areas is also are prone to cause more sinus infections. And even painters, like some people have allergies to paints, and that also causes irritation in the sinuses. So this is also one of the cause which I have missed to mention here, but I'm just talking about it. And then anatomical abnormalities like nasal polyps and deviated nasal septums or infected adenoids. So these infected adenoids are very common in kids in the younger age, below 10 years. So these adenoids cause more of sinus infection, recurrent infections. And then excessive smoking and passive smoking is also one of the major cause of sinusitis. Then swimming in strong chlorinated water or cold seas in extreme weather conditions. So see, swimming in seas is perfectly fine because sea has salty water. But again, when it is like extreme weather conditions, then the sinus can aggravate or the sinus can react. Okay. Then water sports activities in the cold weather, like canoeing or surfing. So these also may contribute to the cause of sinusitis. And then even snorkeling. So even activities that result in pressure change, like flying and scuba diving or even snorkeling. So these are the activities can cause sinusitis. Then excess sleep, waking up late in the morning or waking up in the afternoon. This also aggravates more of mucus production in your body, as you don't expel out the mucus on time according to the biological clock. So that also tends to be a causative factor for sinusitis. And then immediately sleeping after heavy meals or having heavy meals at night as a dinner. So that also is a causative factor. So drinking excess cold water or beverages. So cold will increase more of kapha dosha, and it will increase more of vata dosha also. So cold smoothies or yogurts, ice creams, or consuming cold salads and cold sandwiches. So this is like really very commonly seen in the patients here. So having cold pastas and cold wraps. So these all hamper your digestive system, and that's how they increase or build up more of mucus in your body. So if you want to like get to know more about this, so you can just go through our 7-lesson course so that you will get to know the basic idea about how these 3 body energies work, or these 3 body humors works, the vata, pitta, and kapha. Okay. Then having dinner heavy and oily and late at night. So that also is a causative factor, as I spoke earlier. Then excessive use of heaters in the winter season. This also it creates more of dryness in your nasal passage and the nasal cavity, and that's how it irritates the sinuses and they swell up. So this also contributes to the causative factor of sinusitis. So maintaining optimum humidity is really very important. Like 30 to 40% of humidity should be maintained during the winters. And not protecting yourself from excessive heat, rain, wind, and cold weather conditions. So this also aggravates more, this also like irritates the sinuses or the nasal passages. And working in infection prone closed areas where air circulation is very poor, like healthcare workers and daycare, preschool staff, then dusty and smoky industrial areas. So these are the causative factors to increase more of sinus infections. And then weak immune system is one of the major causative factor for sinusitis. Then cystic fibrosis is an inherited genetic disease where the thick, sticky, and the sticky mucus, it builds up in the body. So that is a genetic disorder which is commonly seen. So that is also causing more of sinus symptoms and sinusitis. Okay. So, and they usually these are all symptoms which are these all causative factors are very much commonly seen when you have like acute or subacute sinusitis. But when these causative factors are not taken care of properly, then it lands up into the chronic sinusitis. And that, and if these all causative factors are not taken care of, and if the symptoms are neglected and are untreated, then it lands up into like asthma or even chronic sinusitis, meningitis. So meningitis is like it is a infection in the meninges in your brain area, where the nose is a doorway or a pathway for to the brain. So that's how the infection spreads over if the sinusitis is not treated well. Then ear infection as well, and eye related problems. So these are the complications which can be seen if the sinusitis is neglected. Okay. So now let's just see what is the Ayurveda approach for the sinusitis, and then we move towards the treatment. So Ayurveda considers sinusitis as pratishay, as I spoke earlier, and or it is also called as venous, and it is imbalance of basically the vata and the kapha dosha, where the patient experiences dull pain throughout the day and mainly seen in the kapha time, that is in the morning time, where the biological clock, if you remember, those who know basic about Ayurveda, so they will get to know, like in the morning time from 6 to 9, it's the kapha time where we try to expel out all the toxins in a way of urine or passing motions or even doing the nasal drops and even doing oil pulling, so or tongue scraping. So these are like few measures to expel out the toxins out of the body. But again, in this kapha time, the sinusitis symptoms aggravate a lot. And during this time, like when these doshas get out of balance, when the vata or the kapha dosha get out of balance, what happens is like the vata or the wind elements gets trapped because of the blocked nose, because of the blocked sinuses, because of that aggravated mucus in the sinus spaces. And that starts to develop into other symptoms like headache and breathing difficulty and irritation in the nose. Okay. So vata basically, it governs the movement, it governs the flow of that mucus, which should be expelled out of the nose or even through the mouth. But when it is blocked, when that flow is blocked, then the symptoms starts to happen. Whereas when the pitta is aggravated, when the pitta dosha is aggravated, what happens is it starts swelling up in the internal nasal passage, like inflammation in the nasal passage. And then this pitta also, it triggers that stuffiness or inflammation inside, and it irritates the mucosa inside the nasal passage. And whereas this kapha dosha, which is the earth and the water element, and when it gets out of balance and gets aggravated, then it produces more of mucus in these sinus spaces, and it traps or blocks the nose. Okay, that's the main symptom. And then damp cough or even winter chest colds are seen. These all symptoms are seen when this kapha dosha aggravates or it goes out of balance. Okay, so in Ayurveda, like it's important to treat the whole person. So every person is unique. Every person has a unique constitution, and every person has imbalance of different doshas. So Ayurveda focuses on a holistic approach. That is like it treats the it not only treats the symptoms, but it goes to the root cause of the of this disorder. Okay, so that's how Ayurveda assures like a safe and a natural treatment, and which has a good long-term effect, and even there is a effective recovery as well. Okay, so let's see what are the Ayurvedic holistic approach and treatments for this. So Ayurvedic treatments like following daily regime and seasonal regime, that is really important. I just spoke about like in the morning time, we cleanse our body by a way of passing urine and passing bowels, and then scraping your tongue, and then putting nasal drops into your nose, and then oil pulling. So these all help to cleanse your upper part of your body, so that excess mucus is there, that gets those toxins gets eliminated out of your body. And there are like few other regimens in daily regime. You can just go through 7 lesson course so that you can get an idea about the basics of Ayurveda. And then the seasonal regime also includes, like when there's change in season, you need to change the food, you need to change your living style. So these are the few things which Ayurveda talks about in seasonal regime. Okay, then comes the detoxification therapy. So this is really helpful and very beneficial for sinus patients is Nasya, which is called as nasal oil drops therapy. So I'll just share another slide to show you how this Nasya treatment works. So let me just stop this sharing and go to the other. Yeah. Okay. Hope it is visible.
Yeah, we can see it. Nasyam, yeah.
Nasyam, yeah. So Nasyam is elation through the nasal passage. So that is instilling the nasal drops. So let's see what is Nasya. In Ayurveda, Nasa means nose. So that's why it is called as Nasyam. So Nasyam is a Ayurvedic detox therapy in which herbal oils or any decoctions or powders are administered through the nostrils. And according to Ayurveda, the nostrils are the entrance to the head, and the effect of medicated oils or decoctions or powders which are administered through these nostrils spread, and it elevates the illness, thereby protecting the upper as well as the lower respiratory tract of the human body. So let's see how the procedure is. So this is around like 35 minutes to 45 minutes procedure, which is done under medical supervision. Okay, so it includes like three procedures. So first is the preparatory procedure, where the facial oil or facial oil olation, a facial gentle facial massage is done with herbal oils. And then steam inhalation, you can see here, you have to cover yourself with the towel and a steaming hot pot is kept with infused herbs into that. So you have to take the steam. So this helps to lubricate or moisten the nasal passage. And after that, the main procedure is administering the medicated oil drops into the nostrils. So this, what is going to do, like it's going to trigger that or it's going to open up those nasal cavities which are attached to the sinus spaces, and it helps to drain out that trapped mucus, the thick mucus, to drain out of the nose. And you will sneeze that time and a couple of times, and then you will drain out that excess mucus from the nose and through the mouth. And after that, you have to just gargle your mouth, rinse your mouth with the warm water. And then the end procedure is herbal smoke. So this herbal smoke is for after doing the main procedure, after spitting out or even sniffing out excess mucus. It will help you to calm down. It will help to calm down the nasal mucus lining, which has got irritated after taking out all the mucus. And it calms down all the doshas, the vata dosha, the pitta, and the kapha dosha. Okay, so this is how, this is like 35 to 45 minutes of procedure, which is done. Okay, let's go back to our screen. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, you're back on.
Yeah. Then the basti or the herbal oil enemas or vamana, this is therapeutic emesis. So these basically basti helps to calm down the aggravated vata dosha in your body, and vamana is therapeutic emesis. It helps to calm down the excess kapha dosha in your body. So that's how these are the medical therapeutical therapies which are done only under medical supervision, and which is done in India most of the time. Then nasal irrigation, which is called as neti. So it cleanses the accumulated mucus in the nasal passage. So again, this nasal irrigation it is done with a neti pot. It has a pout, and then that pout you have to put it in one of the nostrils, bend down, and there is certain procedure which you can learn from any of the yogis. So this is a saline water, and you have to it helps to rinse your nasal passage, and it helps to eliminate all the toxins from your nasal passage. Okay, so this also is a good way to keep your nasal passage clean. Then steam inhalation, then lukewarm compression, gentle face oil massage, herbal paste applications, herbal smoke inhalation, and herbal preparation. So I'm going to talk about all these things in preventive lifestyle changes below. So let's move forward. Yeah. So preventive lifestyle changes. So washing hands regularly and avoid close contacts with sick person. This is really very important, because if you're going to have food with contaminated hand, or if you're going to touch your nose or anywhere else with contaminated hand, that's going to increase more of infections in your body. So you have to be very careful. Make your home an allergen free zone by regular dusting, cleaning by using vacuum cleaners or hoovers or mopping, and then take shower and change clothes after being outside for a long day outing. And then when you're going to bed, just take off your shoes and socks before going to bed. And then even cleaning your bed sheets and washing those bed sheets thoroughly, regularly, and even not using strong smell detergents. That also triggers sinus infections. So these are very simple and basic things which one has to take care when you have sinusitis infection or recurrent sinusitis infections, or to avoid from any sinus infections. And then avoid cold water shower or bath, especially the head bath, and day sleep, excessive sleep, sitting for a long time, 2 to 3 hours at one place. And then when you take head bath, you have to thoroughly dry your hair before going out in the cold weather. So these all things help to calm down that excessive or aggravated vata dosha, and it helps to keep away from any infections. Okay, then drinking warm water is also really important in winters, or even during the summers. Try to keep an habit of having or sipping warm water, and keeping yourself hydrated also is really very important. Then taking warm and hot water showers for bath, that is also very important. Then use of humidifiers to moisten air in your home, especially in winters, because we use heaters, as I spoke earlier. So that is also really important. And then aim for 30 to 50% of humidity. And if staying in a damp area, so use dehumidifiers to get rid of any molds, or use mold cleaner sprays to clean the area. Okay, then quit smoking and avoid from passive smoking. That is also really important. Take extra precautions during the cold seasons while going out. Cover yourself with a scarf and mufflers and coats. Okay, do not sleep during daytime after having heavy meals. This is also very important. And avoid late night meals. Take proper precautions when swimming in the pool treated with chlorine. Use well-fitted eyeglasses. If your glasses pinch your nasal bridge, that also irritates the internal mucosa, and you might start to sneeze and worsen more symptoms. And then take early precautions when affected with cold, cough, and flu. So start the treatment when you see little symptom of that, or start having cold, warm water, and sip herbal teas. Okay. Then give early care and attention for any ear or tooth infection, or any of the pain or headache. Okay. Keep your bowels clear. That is also really important. Stay away from constipation and eat more of fibrous food. Okay. Then practice yoga stretches and breathing techniques and meditation daily. So these are the lifestyle changes which you can impose in yourself, And about yoga stretches is like you can do any sun salutations or even downward dog, even cobra pose. So these are like useful exercises to open up your chest and breathe properly. Then breathing techniques like your you can do thoracic breathing or abdominal breathing or alternate nostril breathing. This will also help to cleanse your internal respiratory tract, okay? And it helps to build up more immunity. Then moving forward, okay, dietary changes. What dietary recommendations you can do is like having cooked and warm meals that are like light, even nourishing and easy to digest. Having big meal at midday, that is really important, and having light dinners. Then don't skip or delay meals. Follow Vata and Kapha pacifying diet, like avoiding cold food, drinks, and avoiding cold places if you are sick. Then foods which are very oily, sweet, sour, heavy to digest. So this is going to like aggravate more of Vata dosha. So you have to avoid this. Then avoid or try to limit with milk and milk products, dairy, sugar, coffee, fried products, then refrigerated products. And if you are heating up the refrigerated products for like 2 to 3 days, so that is also going to increase more of Kapha dosha and increase more of Vata dosha as well. Then sweets, oily products, white flour, plain flour, food, fast food, carbonated drinks, cigarettes, and chocolates, liquor, meat, and tomatoes. So tomatoes are also considered as inflammatory because it has saponin, which alkaloids, which tend to increase more of inflammation. So you should avoid when you have like recurrent sinusitis infection or any inflammatory changes which are going on in your body. Or try to avoid the take off the seeds from the tomatoes and use in a very little quantity. And strictly avoid like yogurts, ice creams, bananas, and cold beverages in the evening and nighttime. Then include spices daily in your diet. This is really important because spices are like pungent in taste and they are like hot in nature. So they help to reduce the symptoms, they help to reduce the inflammation in the sinuses, and they even improve your digestion. So that's how, and they help to eliminate the toxins out of your body. So spices are really important. So use like cinnamon, black pepper, cumin, coriander, clove, then mint, basil, holy basil, then ginger, garlic, onion, fennel, rocks, even you can use like rock salt and turmeric. So these are like really important to have in your daily diet. Then include ghee or a clarified butter, which is called as clarified butter, and even honey in your diet. So this helps to reduce, calm down the all the three doshas. Basically the ghee calms down all the three doshas, and then honey, it helps to reduce the kapha dosha. It helps to reduce the over production of mucus in your body. Then include khichdi, which is light and nourishing porridge. Then yellow moong dal soups, lentil soups and curries, vegetable soups and porridges in your diet. And then drink enough glasses of water to moisten your nasal passage. So you can drink as much as per your capacity. I won't recommend like 5 or 7 glasses, but as per your capacity, as per your need, try to keep yourself hydrated so that it helps to moisten your nasal passage, and it helps to remove the dryness from your body. And take seasonal fruits like pomegranates, sweet mandarins, papaya, apple, pear, prunes, and pineapples. So these are few dietary recommendations which one should follow if you have sinus infection. Then home remedies. Okay, so home remedies are like and herbs for sinusitis. So lukewarm compression. So lukewarm compression is going to help you to reduce the pressure inside the sinuses, and it is going to help to even reduce the symptom of headache. So these home remedies you can follow if you have like acute symptom of headache or blocked nose. So you can try out these home remedies at home. So in lukewarm compression, it is like you have to take a cotton towel and dip it in a lukewarm water and then just squeeze it properly and then just apply it over your face or over your forehead or over your cheek. So this will help to reduce or calm down that pain, and it will give you relief from that headache or pain in the sinuses. Then the second one is pour 1 to 2 drops of nasal oil. We have the inhalation oil. I'm going to talk about it later. Or even the cow's ghee or almond oil into both of your nostrils. Then gently massage your forehead in between your eyebrows, temples, and cheek area with any of the oils. You can just gently, with this middle finger, you can just gently massage the temple area or above your eyebrows or over the cheek area. Then sip hot ginger basil tea or peppermint tea or chamomile tea or vata tea or kapha tea. So these all teas are going to calm down that vata or calm down that pain or those aggravated doshas, and thus it is going to help you in relieving those symptoms of sinusitis. Okay, then herbal steam inhalation. So steaming involves like mixing of herbs into the boiling water. So you, as you have seen in the picture before, in that Nasya treatment, so leaning down over the bowl and placing a towel over your head to trap the steam and breathing in for 5 to 10 minutes. So you can breathe in through your nose and then breathe out through your mouth. And that's how it's going to soothe your internal nasal mucosa, and it is going to soothe the throat as well. Then adding inhalation oil, mint leaves, eucalyptus oil, clove oil, turmeric, or basil leaves, or mint leaves is going to really help to take those vapors twice daily. So inhale through the nose and exhale through the mouth, as I said earlier. And if there are any secretions coming out, which loosens when the mucus drains out of the nose or through your mouth, just spit it out and then gargle the mouth with warm water. Then steam inhalation with tulsi and mint decoction regularly helps in acute sinusitis. So if you're having acute sinusitis, you can just start doing this inhalation or steam method. And there's one more home remedy which you can follow is like boil 1 liter of water and then put 2 drops of clove oil and 10 to 12 crushed mint leaves into that, or even eucalyptus oil. So see, these all oils which I'm talking about are very strong. So you have to try with minimal drops, like 1 drop initially, and then you move, then you can just, later you can just add 2 drops into that. So take as per your capacity, how you feel, and then take the steam. So you can take the steam for 5 minutes initially, and then you can increase it to 10 minutes and then to 15 minutes. Okay. Don't just start away with 10 or 15 minutes. And do this remedy like twice a day, at least twice a day, morning and evening, to get good results. And the home remedy will help for recurrent sinusitis with the clove oil and mint leaves and eucalyptus oil. Then even application of this inhalation oil or sesame oil over the face and then taking the steam will also add on relief for the symptoms. Then herbal paste application. So this is also really very important, herbal paste application. So half teaspoon of dry ginger powder, 1 pinch of nutmeg powder, and 2 pinch of vacha. So vacha is one of the herb. So this powder plus milk, you can just combine it together, make a paste, and then apply it over the forehead and the cheek wherever you feel like there is more pain or irritation. So you can just leave it for 15 to 20 minutes and then wipe it off with the warm cloth. So this is also a very good home remedy to get relief from headache. Then herbal smoke inhalation. So this also helps when you have like irritation in the nose sometimes, or even continuous sneezing. So this will help you to calm down that symptoms. So half teaspoon of dry ginger powder, carom seeds. So carom seeds are tiny small seeds which are pungent in taste, and it does have little oil into that. So these carom seeds, you have to like dry roast them on a pan and later take it on a handkerchief and then just make a small poultice, and you can just sniff that or place it near to your pillow when you're sleeping. So it helps to ease down or calm down that inflammation, and it helps for breathing. So this smoke inhalation helps to calm down the inflammation which is there in the nasal passage. Okay. Then internal home remedies are like adding turmeric powder, 1 pinch, and 1 pinch of nutmeg or cinnamon to warm milk and drinking at bedtime also gives a good relief from the symptoms. Then 1 teaspoon of fresh ginger juice, 1 teaspoon of honey, mix it together and then leak that. This will also help in relieving the symptoms or reduce the excess production of mucus and also for digestion. Then boiling 2 to 3 chopped cloves in a cup of water, and then half teaspoon of turmeric powder. Stir that well. So cloves is like the garlic cloves, and then stir well, and then let it boil for a few minutes and strain it. Drain it once a day. So this remedy can also be done like you can sip this water. Then take 1 glass of water, add 1 teaspoon of fenugreek seeds, boil it for a few minutes and then strain it. So drink this also several times in a day. So this will also help you to calm down that aggravated doshas. And then we have few herbal remedies like Sitopaladi powder, which is also very good to get relief from cough, cold, and few other symptoms like excess production of mucus. So this helps to calm down those excess kapha dosha or vata dosha and symptoms of cough and cold. Along with honey, if it is taken 1 to 2 times in a day. Then Trikatu Churno also helps to calm down or that kapha dosha, and it also helps to build up a good digestive system. So these are the two herbal powders which can be mixed with honey and taken. But all these herbal preparations should be taken under medical supervision, I would say. And then we have like other herbs like cold defense, and then even breathe easy. And breathe easy also has like ginger and few other herbs like ginger, cinnamon, and few herbs which calms down the respiratory tract, and it eases down the digestive system also. Then Ayur defense is also one of the good herb which can be taken. Then inhalation oil. So this inhalation oil can be used as a when you are taking a steam. So you can just put those drops into the steaming hot water and take steam of that. So it has like camphor, then carom, peppermint, and then eucalyptus, clove, fennel, and cinnamon. So these are few herbs which are there in this inhalation oil, which soothes the lining of the internal nasal mucosa and calms down all the inflammation. So this inhalation oil is really good. You can even apply it over the nose, 1 drop, apply it over the nose and the chest area when you are taking steam. And then Chyawanprash is also one of the rejuvenating herb, which has amla is one of the main ingredient of this Chyawanprash, and this helps to improve your immunity. Okay. Then we have this pastils for fresh breath. So even these have like peppermint, and then cinnamon, carom seed. So these are few herbs which are there in this chewable pastils. So this can be chewed when you are having any symptoms of cold or flu or even sinus infections. Then throat soothe syrup is also really good to keep away from any respiratory tract infections. And then the nasal oil or MP16, which can be instilled into the nose in the morning time, which cleans out all the excess toxins which are there in the nose. So these are all herbal preparations which are there on our website, and you can even buy them from us. Okay, thank you.
That's great, Dr. Chaitrali. Thank you. If you want to stop sharing your screen.
Yeah, I'll just stop sharing. Yeah.
Okay. So that's fantastic. There's a huge amount of information in there. And I think, don't worry about it. We'll send the notes and we'll also send the video copy of the video to people. And I think it's important people know sinusitis, like every condition really has different levels. Not everybody's going to experience the same. Some may be very mild, some may be very severe, some may react to certain situations and become worse. But the good thing is about it is that there's something you can do about it no matter what level it's at. Obviously, the more severe it is and the more it's, impacting on your life, definitely the more you want to do something about it. And probably that's the way life works, is that we start doing something about it when there's a big issue with it. So there's a lot of stuff in there. I would say if you do have bad sinusitis and you really want to treat it properly, then you should really have a consultation with an Ayurvedic doctor to be put on a proper treatment plan. But there are some other very nice things in there to do with diet and daily routine, and that MP16 oil that people use. I mean, we've a lot of people use that oil even if you don't have sinusitis. It's very good for keeping that whole area very, very clean and very healthy. And the nose in Ayurveda is the gateway to the brain. So I've even seen people suffering from migraine that use this MP16 that has a very positive impact, and also people with tinnitus and people with sinusitis. And and that steam oil is that nasal oil and the steam oil, they're very inexpensive oils, and maybe around 10-11 euro, and they're very, very effective. I know during COVID, one of the things that Dr. Brennan recommended was that anybody working in healthcare should steam with that oil at nighttime to kill off viruses and infections in the nasal area. So what we'll do now is, so as I say, it's like all diseases, it has different levels, and there's lots and lots of things in there. A lot of the herbs, things like Sitapalati and Trickatu, they may be new to people. They're just foods, they're just herbs that are used in Ayurveda to help with different ailments, and like ginger. But everybody knows about ginger nowadays. You can get raw ginger. So even ginger with a little honey before your meals is a great thing to help stimulate your appetite and get your agni going. So we have a few questions in, Dr. Chaitrali. I'm going to bring people to the website and show them where they can get more information, especially about the daily routine and the morning routine, which I imagine is very, very important for sinusitis, to have a proper healthy morning routine. But we'll just go through some of these questions. So we have a question from Amber. She says, how to treat a constant dry nose. So it's kind of in the question as well. Dry is vata. Vata is always dry. So that would be a vata condition. So what would be any suggestions for Amber on how to treat a constant dry nose?
Yeah, constant dry nose, again, it is a vata condition, as you said. So to calm down that vata, again, oil is very important. And then instilling the MP16 oil, the nasal oil, into the nostrils in the morning time. And at the bedtime, you can even use cow's ghee. So ghee instilling like 1 or 2 drops into your nostrils at night. So use it twice a day so that it will help down to calm down that vata.
Yeah, because oil is the opposite. In Ayurveda, we're always, if it's dry, we treat with moist. If it's hot, we treat with cold. If it's cold, we treat with hot. So it's always the opposite. So yeah, like oil in the nose is going to have a big impact on that. And, for people who have dry skin and everything, like doing an abhyanga, an oil massage in the morning time is a great thing to do as well. Siobhan says, what type of eye-related problems can happen if untreated sinusitis? So, the eyes, the ears, the nose, they're all connected together. So I wouldn't know the answer to that, Dr. Chaitrali, but is there eye problems can come up if
eye problems will come up, like the dry eyes or watering through the eyes is also one of the common symptom, because the cavities, the sinus cavities get trapped because of the mucus, or they get inflamed. So even watering of eyes is also very common symptom. Then blurred vision, even double vision. So these are like later, if it is untreated, then you can see like serious consequences later.
Okay. So again, and with Ayurveda, it's always like one of the lessons in our 7 lesson course is the 6 stages of disease. So Ayurveda never sees that you're fine one day and then you're completely, have some massive disease the next day, unless obviously you're in an accident, but generally these things accumulate and accumulate. And like everything, if something is left untreated, it gets worse and worse and worse and worse. And the idea is to treat it at the early stages so that it's easier to
Yeah.
treat at the early
Yeah,
stages as
prevention
well.
is better than cure, I would say. So try to
Absolutely.
prevent
Yeah.
yourself and then,
And and the more ingrained it is in the physiology, the more difficult and more time it takes to treat it. So
yeah.
we've two questions about itchiness, one from Marion and one for Amber. One says how to treat an itchy nose, and the other is how to treat itchy ears.
Okay, so itchy nose and itchy ears, again, taking like steam inhalation and then using the nasal drops. So taking steam inhalation with inhalation oil or eucalyptus oil or any of the oils will help to like kill those toxins or irritants which are there inside the nasal passage. Okay, and for in case of ears is also the same thing, like taking steam and then after that instilling the oil drops like bilwa oil which we have, you can use that as well. So irritation is because of dryness or irritation is because of some toxins
That's
accumulation.
there, yeah.
So in both the, like, you can try with steam inhalation and then even instilling oil into the nose or into the ears.
Okay, okay. And as we know, the nose, the throat, the ears, they're all connected. That's
All
why when you're on
connected.
a flight and you want to pop your ears, you just hold your nose and breathe out, and it'll, the eustachian tube there, it has an effect on it. And that's kind of what Mary Keane is asking, the connection between sinusitis and tinnitus. It's that connection between is
Yeah,
there anything you'd
there
like to
is.
say about that, or?
Yeah, there is a connection with sinusitis and tinnitus because both are vata condition, I would say. Then lubricating those internal mucosa is very important, and then cleansing that internal mucosa because most of the time these are the open ways where the this thing, the dust or any allergens get trapped inside, and it's not easy to take them out. So cleansing that daily as it is included in our daily regime. So nasal drops and even ear drops is going to help in these
Yeah,
both ways.
yeah. We have the eardrops. They were part of the tinnitus webinar, all right.
Yeah.
Donica says, what kind of precautions can you take when swimming in a chlorinated pool? Interesting one. My brother, and myself and my brother are in a gym, and they have a pool, and it's quite heavily chlorinated. Pools seem to differ a lot these days, and I certainly don't like the chlorinated water. I'd really stop swimming in the pool because there's a smell off my skin afterwards. But it doesn't irritate me that much, but I just don't like it so much. So I much prefer swimming in the sea. But my brother has completely he had bad reactions to swimming in the chlorinated water, and his eyes were streaming and everything. He just completely gave it up as well. But I suppose it's like everything, it affects different people differently. But you can use a nose cap if it's
Yeah, nose cap.
not
Yeah,
too irritating
yeah,
on you.
yeah,
And
yeah,
you
yeah.
can use earplugs as well if you
Earplugs,
want.
yeah.
And then if you just find it too much and it's having too negative consequences for you, then the thing to do is just stop doing it. There are some saltwater pools. There used to be one in Dublin, in Sandyford. No, Sandymount, actually. Sorry, they used to take the water in out of the sea and heat it up. And obviously, with the salt water in it, it's killing the bacteria as well. And I think they're treating water with other mechanisms now as well. My feeling is we should have moved on from chlorinating the water a long time ago. There has to be other ways of dealing, whether it's essential oils or whatever it is. There has to be other ways of dealing with it. But yeah, so Donegal, you can take some of that advice and just see how you get on.
I would even recommend, like, even if you start with using this nasal oils, it will help to build up the immunity and slowly you will get rid of that chlorinated smell. And then after swimming, I would recommend you to have like warm milk with turmeric and cinnamon powder into that. So this will also help to reduce that inflammation if it gets irritated because of the chlorine.
Okay, so actually that will build up a protective layer
Yeah,
inside the nose
yeah,
anyway if you're using the oil
yeah.
regularly. Amber is wondering about breathing techniques. So there are many different pranayama techniques. The alternate nostril breathing is one I particularly like. It's good for regulating the breath. It's also very good for calming the mind. But in particular, the sinusitis, is there any particular one you'd recommend?
Particular one, what I would recommend is like the simple breathing technique, that is thoracic or the abdominal breathing. So if you take a simple example of a balloon, so when you blow in the balloon, what happens? It inflates. Similarly, when you breathe in through your nose, you are going to like the air is going to fill into your tummy and the belly comes out, your chest comes out. And when you are exhaling that air through the nose again, you are exhaling out that warm air or the toxic air out of your body. So this is going to help you. A good breathing, abdominal breathing and a good thoracic breathing will also help to keep your respiratory tract well.
Okay. So there's a question here from Anja. Do holy basil capsules taken orally help with sinusitis? So that's one part of our question. So holy basil capsules, what any recommendation on them?
Yeah, that should be fine. Like if you are not okay to take with the powder, or even if you don't get the fresh leaves, holy basil tablets are perfectly fine. You can take it like empty stomach in the morning with warm water. So, or like half an hour before food. So that is going to help you to build up the immunity and keep
Okay.
your respiratory tract well.
And then there's a question, is there an inhalation decoction on your website for regular use to prevent sinusitis recurring? Well, we would recommend there's two oils. One is an inhalation oil, which is MA634. I'll show you how to find it. And then the other is part of the morning routine for everybody, really. And that's the nasal oil that you actually insert in the nostril. Now, one, you just put a few drops in boiling water and you inhale the steam because it's a very strong oil with camphor and eucalyptus in it. The other one you actually put up your nose, so you don't get them mixed up because you don't want to put the very strong one directly up, but it's very clearly marked anyway. So I'll show you where they are in a few minutes, you know. So Kathleen asks, is there a connection between sinusitis and high TSH, normally T4 free? Also, is there any way to prevent sinusitis after flying? So a connection between sinusitis and high TSH, Dr. Chaitrali?
Yeah. So connection, I would say they are they are above your neck region. So that is thyroid related dysfunction and then sinusitis. But if the sinusitis get worsened, then it might affect the thyroid as well. But there is not a very strong connection, I would say. But there is a little bit of connection when we talk in a perspective of Ayurveda, when we think according to the dosha imbalances. That depends upon person to person again.
And any way to prevent sinusitis after flying? I think all the things you mentioned,
Yeah.
uh, using the oils regularly, and the idea is to build up your system and not just to take one thing that'll just prevent you having this episode once. It's to prevent it. It's to bring the thing back down from the boil, so so that these things don't affect you as badly or as much as they would normally. So all of the daily routines, I think that Dr. Chaitrali has recommended there, plus using the oils would help with flying. But any specific thing with flying, Dr. Chaitrali, that
Specific thing is like again cover your ears if possible, and before after coming from like after doing that activity, after coming back, you can again do a steam inhalation and they do the things which I have mentioned in precautionary measures. So try to do those home remedies, so
yeah.
that are going to help. Like I'll just give you one example. When I was in Singapore, one lady used to fly from Italy just to do that Nasya treatment. And because she used to do surfing regularly and she was a surfing coach, so she used to get that sinus infection very recurrently. And she used to come like once a year to do that Nasya treatment. So she used to take like around 14 sessions in a year. So that used to be like okay for her to drain out that trapped mucus in the sinus spaces.
Okay, and that's something we might offer in the autumn, actually. I don't
Yeah.
know that there's anywhere you can do Nasi at the moment. I've done it myself in India and in various
Yeah,
places.
we can, yeah, we can think of starting that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a very strong treatment. It's a very good treatment. If you're very pitta, but if you're kapha, it'll be
Yeah.
fine. But yeah, but we hopefully will be able to offer that treatment maybe in the autumn. What are carom seeds, please. Are they cardamom seeds? They're not cardamom seeds, but I'll let Dr. Chaitrali explain them. So the
Yeah.
seeds you mentioned earlier on.
Yeah, those are like carom seeds. So it is spelled as carom, carom seed. They are very tiny, small brown color seeds, and you can find it in any of the Asian stores. I remember seeing it once in Dun's store in those spice sections. But if you don't find it there, you can just find it in any of the Asian stores. And these are like pungent seeds, and it helps to calm down the vata dosha, the aggravated vata dosha. So if you chew them and drink warm water over it, it will help to reduce the bloating symptoms in your tummy and even the pain. So it helps to calm down that vata dosha or calm down that headache also. Or even if you sniff it, it's going to give that effect.
Okay, so Mary says, can we please have a copy of the notes as well as the recording? Yes, Mary, we'll get them out to you. Amber says, did Dr. Chaitrali say fenugreek boiled water is good for constipation as well? I think you did.
Yes, yes,
Yeah,
yes.
that
That
is,
is
yeah.
even in constipation webinar, I had spoke about that.
Yeah, we have a special webinar on constipation as well for people who suffer from that. So Teresa Gillen, no, she just says this knowledge you have shared has been invaluable. Thank you. Okay, Teresa, that's no problem. You're very welcome. Cow's ghee, someone asked about. So ghee is clarified butter. It's becoming more common. It's highly, highly recommended in Ayurveda as a cooking oil. It's also used in a lot of medicines as well. The reason being it goes very deeply into the tissue. So if you know, you can get things like Brahmi ghee or Triphala ghee. And the idea being that because the ghee goes very deeply into the tissues, it takes those other nutrients in there as well.
And
You
it
can
calms
buy it in the
down.
shops. I see it in Tesco's now, and I would get a good organic one. And if you can't source one, just make it yourself. Just get unsalted butter. Very simple to make. You can, there'll be videos on YouTube of how to do that. And Dr. Chaitrali has mentioned it and recommended it there a few times during her talk. Is there any alternative to ghee from Donica for those who avoid dairy because of allergens and are lifestyle vegans?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can use almond oil. I
Um,
mentioned about almond oil. So almond oil can be used in case
okay.
of,
Almond oil is one that you could use.
yeah.
Ravi says, does oil pulling rule dental fillings? I haven't come across that now. So if you're worried about it, then just use a smaller amount of oil. It's not something I've come across. Dr. Chaitrali, have you come across that?
See, sometimes like very few of the people have complained about that, but it depends upon person to person again, and what kind of filling it is, and at what stage you have used the oil pulling. If it is like the filling has come out after many years and you use the oil pulling that time, so it might have damaged that filling. But again, using minimum like just 1 spoon of oil daily for oil pulling, and just squishing it for half a minute or 30 seconds should not like damage the filling, I would say.
Okay, okay. So Donica says swimming pools used to use salt water to disinfect water as opposed to seawater, but it doesn't seem too common now. Okay, yeah, I'd agree with that. It's not too common. Siobhan O'Malley says, I usually don't use nose or earplugs when sea swimming as I thought salt water was good for the nasal passages, but is it more likely to aggravate the sinuses? No, it's not. Dr. Chaitrali mentioned that very cold water, if you're
Yeah,
Vata,
very cold, extreme,
you
yeah,
know.
extreme
So
condition.
if you're like sea swimming is very, very popular now, and I do it. I was in swimming earlier on today. I love sea swimming. Now, I don't do it in the depths of winter because I normally get out of the habit by going abroad somewhere to Spain or somewhere like that. And then when I come back in the middle of November, I just can't get back in the water. But I know there are people like that are swimming all year round now, and it's a very common thing. And there's groups of people go swimming together. But do be self-referral on it. If you're very, very Vata, sea swimming in the wintertime, it might not be so good for you. It might even be bad for you. So just see how you feel, and if your fingers go numb and all that sort of stuff, and then you see your Vata going out of balance, meaning your mind is too busy and you can't sleep at nighttime and maybe aches and pains and things like that, then that could be related to sea swimming. Now that's in the depths of winter. In the summertime, there's nothing better for the people like myself to do. It's one and highly recommended to go in and swimming, and it's a great exercise and it cools you down and it's very natural. And if you've been working on a computer all day, or you know, in offices and air conditioned rooms and all that sort of stuff, just to get into the sea and go swimming is a fantastic thing. And the salt water will not be bad for your sinuses. Will not be bad. Dr. Chaitrali mentioned the cold water may aggravate the sinuses. Can sinusitis make the ears whistle from a stell?
Yeah, it will make the ears whistle sometimes, like the because of the pressure. So even one of the ear might get blocked and you can't hear from one side. So this happens because the internal pressure, or where the vata gets trapped inside. So this might exert more pressure, and these are all vata symptoms which we can see in sinusitis.
Okay, so Siobhan O'Malley asks, is swelling under the ears a symptom of sinusitis?
So not really under the ear, because there's no sinus space to get swelling. It might be some ear infection or a tooth infection which can cause swelling near the ear.
Okay, so Amber says she did oil pulling with sesame oil and it affected her fillings. It broke out and fell out. Is it better to use coconut oil instead? May just not be related, Amber, and you know, it may be just a coincidence, you know.
So
So I'm
usually
not.
sesame oil is used during the winters because it is hot in potency, and then coconut oil is used during the summer season
Okay,
because
so
it is
coconut
cold in
oil in the summer,
potency.
yeah.
Yeah.
So Lauren says, thanks so much. The really useful and interesting. Donica says, I got sinusitis as part of long COVID. The only way I've been able to maintain a normal life since is taking antihistamines daily. Are there any natural antihistamines I could use instead of pharmaceutical brands? Well, possibly in cold season, defense and breathe easy. Would that be?
So again, Ayurveda doesn't talk about like antihistamines, but will I'll surely tell you, like taking iron defense will help to build up the immunity. It will help to ignite your digestive fire after post-COVID. And that's how it will help to calm down that excess kapha dosha or vata dosha and reduce the symptoms of sinusitis. And use other inhalation oil, or if you feel like taking a consultation, I'll be happy to consult you.
Okay, so Raksha asked, for neti, do you use plain water? Normally it's salted water. You can look it up in, you know, on YouTube as well, but I would say salted water.
Yeah, it is salted water. It's a
Yeah.
salted water.
Suggest minimum time for oil pulling. Well, the minimum time would be about 30 seconds.
30 seconds, yeah.
Yeah, you
30
can do it
seconds
for a
to
lot
1 minute.
longer. I tend to do it for a lot longer, you know. So Marion says, I've just found my nasal oil and MA634 and oil pulling tool. I sometimes forget that I already have what I need. Well, that's great. You can make use of them, you know. Mark Keenan says, thanks very much, Dr. Chaitrali and Noel. Can you explain, from Lorna, can you explain why sinus headache and tooth pain happen together?
Sinus pain and toothache. So see, toothache, if you're near to the tooth, there is the maxillary sinus, which is over the cheek. So that if if the mucus get trapped there, and if there is a tooth infection, so that infection might enter into the maxillary sinuses, which are near to the cheeks, and it exerts the pressure, and that's how there is a pain. So this is all interconnected. There
Yeah.
are like few capillaries which are there, and that's how the symptoms worsen if there is. But that's very rare condition. If that tooth infection is not treated well, then only it can enter into the sinus space. Okay.
So Orla asks, is it good to use neti, the neti pot and the nasal oil at night?
At night, so nasal oil can be used in the evening time, I would say, and the neti you can do it in the morning time.
Okay, okay. Estelle asks, she says she's very vata, so I love taking the sun. Is it okay for sinusitis? So I presume she means sunbathing. Well, the only thing with that is, I mean, the sun is definitely heating, but it'll also dry you out as well if you stay out in it too long, you know.
Yeah, so just don't overdo that, I would say. So
Yeah.
anything which is done in excess, it's going to like imbalance those doshas.
Okay. Okay. And Tamara says, she just says such a great presentation, Dr. Chaitrali, you know. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to show people where they can get a lot more information. So just bear with me. I'm going to Okay, so I'm going to take you to our website first of all, okay? So our main website is ayurveda.ie, and you can see the spelling of it there up in the top left-hand corner, just ayurveda.ie. And when you go onto that site, you will see, I mean, the thing we highlight the most is really the 7-lesson course that we have, the free 7-lesson course. So many of you may have done this already, but if you haven't done this, we highly recommend that you do this, you know? So you just click there for more details, and it tells you now, Dr. Chaitrali is not on this picture because she wasn't around when we did this course. We did it initially during COVID, you know, but it tells you the 7 lessons there, an introduction to Ayurveda, a good explanation of the 3 doshas, Vata, Pitta, Kapha, then the rhythms of nature, which is your daily routine and your seasonal routine. And that covers all about the oral hygiene in the morning and all those things that you need to do. A lesson on digestion, because having strong digestion is seen as essential for healthcare in Ayurveda. Actually, a lot of diseases come from the improper digestion and creation of what we call ama, or toxins in the system. And then the last lesson is the 6 stages of disease. So on each of those lectures was followed by a Q&A. So you just need to give your first name, last name, and actually I think the only obligatory field is the email address. So, and then we send you out 2 lessons a week, and then after on the 4th week you get 1 lesson. And there's some testimonials. That first one there is from John Duffy, who's a cardiologist. Well, he's retired now from Galway, you know. So it's a really, really great course, and I recommend everybody to do that course if you haven't done it already. Now, some of the products we mentioned there, the easiest way, we do have a shop menu here, but it might take a little while to find those things. The easiest way to find anything is if you have a name. So MA634, for instance. So it comes up straight away, and you can just click on it. And there's an explanation oil, and you can see the price of it there is €12. And, you know, all the ingredients are there, camphor, ajwain, peppermint. So you can read about the oil there, you know. The other one was MA735, which is your inhalation or your nasal oil, okay? And it comes with a dropper in a 10 ml, and it comes with a refill as well. And we recommend people use that on a daily basis. I'm wondering why that little picture is on that. Let me just.
Yeah, you can
No,
start with
that's
like
not out of
1
stock,
drop.
actually. I need to put that back in stock. That is in stock at the moment, so don't mind what it says there. So I'll update that. You could also just, if you can't remember the numbers, just put in nasal and it'll come up, you know. And then, you know, Breathe Easy was mentioned. So BRE should just come up, sniffle free, Breathe Easy tablets there as well. And that's a book by Dr. Brennan. So you can search just with any 3 letters. I think throat soothe was mentioned as well. So SOO, yeah, comes up first there, throat soothe syrup, and there was some other things mentioned. And then you can just, if you want to purchase those things, you can just sign out as a guest, or you can set up an account. But that's how you can read more about those particular products. One thing, if you're not on our newsletter, subscribe to it, because we're going to be doing lots of different webinars, and you can unsubscribe at any. There's an unsubscribe link on the bottom of all of our emails as well. So if you get fed up getting emails off us, I tend to keep it maybe 2 a week. We send a newsletter out on a Wednesday and a Saturday, and there's generally very much information based, you know. One of the things I want to show you is these are the contacts for all our doctors. So Dr. Chaitrali is there, and it's probably best to email them rather than ring them, because they may be busy and you may not get a reply. But if you send an email, they'll definitely see that and get back to you. Dr. Chaitrali is over near Dundrum, Dr. Rajvinder is in Lucan, and Dr. Naheed, she's no longer in Cork City. She's actually in Lucan as well. And Dr. Brennan, he only does online consultations. He lives in Monkstown in County Dublin, but you can set up an online consultation with Dr. Brennan there if you want. Now, what's really interesting is our YouTube channel. So the best way to get to it is just go there, and you can see that it's just called youtube.com Ayurveda Center, okay? And we have lots and lots of stuff on our YouTube channel. We've cookery videos. There's the Sinusitis Webinar. Actually, if you go to playlist there, you can see we have free webinars. So if you click on that, oh, I've after starting that, but anyway, there's, I'm not going to play that. Sorry. There's, you can see some webinars there that, there's a menopause, endometriosis, acid reflux, diabetes, thyroid. So there are webinars there on particular things that you can go and get. And it's a good thing to subscribe to that channel. And then all the videos we put up there, we'll be putting this one up there now in the next day or so as well, so that you can subscribe to it. The other thing I wanted to say to you is that if you generally with Ayurveda, an initial consultation is for an hour with an Ayurvedic doctor. And the reason being is that we need an hour to explain to them people about Vata, Pitta, Kapha and the principles behind Ayurveda, especially if they know nothing about it. But you've done this webinar, and many, many people know an awful lot about Ayurveda. So we started doing a 20-minute consultation that costs €25, where you have a Zoom consultation. It's not in person, it's just done online. And it's generally just for one topic, for one thing, because that's all you're going to be able to cover in the 20 minutes. So let's say you do suffer from sinusitis and it's quite severe, and you've enjoyed this webinar, but you'd like to have a personal consultation with Dr. Chaitrali, then you just go to, it's done through Calendly. So it's calendly.com /Ayurveda Center. I'll send that out in the email when we send out the thing. You don't have to worry too much about it, but it's very simple. You just click on the date, so the 17th, and all the times come up, and then you just click on the time, and then you just put in your name and your email, and you just pay for it, and your telephone number. You can give a description of what you want to talk about, and then you just pay for it, and you schedule the event, and then that's it. And then you just end up with a 20-minute Zoom consultation with Dr. This one for that particular thing was with Dr. Chaitrali, and we have them. I'll send that link to your. I'll send the link on the email so that you can access these consultations if you want. If you'd like an hour consultation, then you just contact that's the web address for it. Just there, Ayurveda Center. Calendly.com Ayurveda Center. If you'd like a longer consultation, if you feel you'd need the whole hour, then you can just contact Dr. Chaitrali directly, Okay, so I'm going to stop the share. They're the things I wanted to show you. There's lots. Ayurveda means, Ayu is lifespan and Veda is knowledge. So Ayurveda means the knowledge of lifespan. It's one of the oldest traditions of healthcare in the world. Its roots go back thousands upon thousands of years. It has a very specific way of seeing health in terms of balance, and ill health in terms of imbalance. So if you look at the word, someone says, I'm suffering from a disease, just look at the word. It's dis-ease. The same word as imbalance. The system is no longer at ease. And an Ayurvedic doctor and the Ayurvedic approach is always saying, okay, what's your nature? Are you Vata, Pitta, Kapha? Are you a mixture of all three? And what are the things you need to do to keep yourself in balance? And what are the things that are going to put you out of balance? And if you are out of balance, that will simply manifest itself in some way, whether it's arthritis or headaches or indigestion or ulcers or anxiety or depression or whatever it happens to be. That imbalance is simply going to manifest itself. So what an Ayurvedic doctor is trying to do is trying to get you back into balance. They're not trying to deal with the symptoms of what's happening, because that's superficial. You can suppress the symptoms with painkillers, but it's not doing anything to the cause of it. And that's why I'm personally very, very disappointed to see a lot of the ads that are running on TV these days for painkillers. Painkillers are being advertised like Smarties these days. Actually, completely healthy people who are in no pain whatsoever are being advertised painkillers, so that when they go running or when they go training or when they do something, they can do it for longer because they won't experience pain. but there's a reason you experience pain. The worst thing you can do is block those signals from your body. So if you're doing too much, you're rowing or you're running and you're doing much and you get a stitch, that's a sign from nature saying, hang on, row it back a little bit here, you know. But if you block those signals, then you keep doing it and you're ultimately going to do damage to yourself. And painkillers of all types can cause huge problems to people. And so Ayurveda is not just looking at the symptoms. Obviously, if the symptoms are very severe, there are things that we can do to help bring them down. But really what we're trying to do is to get to the underlying root cause of this. And the underlying root cause invariably, even though genetics does play a big part, but it's invariably diet or lifestyle. It's diet or lifestyle. And then we can add in herbal preparations as well. But I remember when I did my training, I did training in Ayurveda in a university in Slovenia. I mean, our teacher, the professor there, was always saying herbal preparations are secondary to the diet and lifestyle. If you're using herbal preparations, but the person is carrying on with the exact same lifestyle, eating cheeseburgers late at night time, taking pizza, you know, doing these things that are aggravating what's there, but they're just popping a few pills at the same time, if whether they're Ayurvedic or allopathic, it doesn't make any difference. That's not really the way to deal with the thing. The herbal preparations can help, they can aid, especially when it's very severe, but the main thing is to get the diet and lifestyle back. And the great thing about getting your diet and lifestyle back into order is that not only the thing that you're worried about, the thing that's affecting you, the sinusitis or the headaches or the indigestion or the acid reflux or whatever it is going to dissipate, hopefully. But all other things are going to get better as well. And you're going to prevent other things from coming up as well. Because if you're eating the right foods and if you're exercising in the right way and you have the right healthy daily routine, you're preventing diseases from beginning and starting. And as Dr. Chaitrali said earlier on, prevention is always better than cure, you know. So we're going to finish off this webinar now. I'm going to send a copy of this video to everybody. I want to say a huge thank you to Dr. Chaitrali. You put a lot of work into that. There's a lot of information in it. I think people who are suffering from sinusitis will need to go back over this video a few times. So thank you very much, Dr. Chaitrali.
Yeah.
And if there's any final words you want to say.
Yeah, thank you for patience listening. And thank you, Noel. You had given a good brief idea about what Ayurveda is. That's really, yeah, important.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, it's very important that people
Yeah.
understand the nature and do that 7-lesson course if you haven't done it. And if you have done it, do it again,
Good
because
idea.
there's a huge amount of information in that course that everybody, it's the foundation stone of what we do really is that Ayurvedic course. And as I say, if you want a consultation, if you want a private consultation with Dr. Chaitrali, I'll send the link in the newsletter, which will go out tomorrow. And yeah, okay, there's nothing else
Okay.
to be said. Thank you very
Yeah.
much,
Okay.
everybody.
Thank
And
you.
thank
Yeah.
you,
Good
thank you,
night.
Dr. Chaitrali.
Bye-bye.
Thank you very much. Bye bye. Bye bye.
Bye.